All right, perfect. Well, thank you all very much, as usual, for your time on this beautiful afternoon. I'm excited to get together. I'm really excited about the agenda. We'll have wonderful updates from the Sustainable Carolina team about new things we have going on. And it has been an action-packed fall for sure. But first, we'll start off with the minutes, which I hope everybody had a chance to take a look at. This is not speak now or forever hold your peace, but if anybody had anything first order in terms of corrections that you'd like to make, additions, things we might have left out, please definitely feel free to offer those now. And also know that you will have continuing opportunities to edit if needed. Anybody have anything obvious? All right, without that, I would offer the chance for a motion to approve.
I move to approve the last meeting minutes.
Awesome, thank you. Do we have a quick second?
I second.
Thank you. All right. Do I hear any objections? Well, first, any discussion, which I think we had sort of before. All right, feeling that, any objections? Fantastic. All right, the minutes are approved. And Steve is happy with me because I always forget that. That's my specialty, is forgetting the minutes. As I mentioned, it's been a super exciting fall. If you haven't yet seen the annual sustainability report, I commend it to you. It is, number one, an awesome document. Thank you, Abigail, and thank you, the whole team. But it's also just reflective of the great stuff that we have going on and the way that when we all started this in our team, how we hoped we would function. We'd have a lot of accomplishments of our own, but lots of amazing partnerships across the university that we were perhaps helping make be even a little bit better. So it's a great document. It's a great transparency device because it shares all of our progress, identifies the metric, shows our progress on the metrics, and is really specific about why things did or didn't happen. So please take a look at that if you haven't seen it already. So one of the really exciting things is continuing to bring great new folks on. We have lots of new student members, I think two of whom are with us today. Victoria, do you want to say hi?
Hi there, I'm Victoria. I'm from the Renewable Energy Special Projects Committee, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. And those of you who don't know, RESPC receives the student fee for sustainability and takes on big projects across the university. And one of the things they learn, unfortunately, is that the university is a giant organization and it's really hard to make change in a giant organization. But for those people who work in sustainability, I think we would say that's probably a good life lesson. But thank you for all you all do. It's really wonderful. Izzy, would you like to say hello?
Hi all, I'm Izzy Bukovnik. I'm a graduate student in the public policy program. I work with Dr. Angel Shu in the data-driven environment lab.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. So let's think. I think AR, you were here before. This is not your first meeting, right? All right. And Noah, you were here before?
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. And we already said hi to Olga, who we're excited to have with us for this time, representing the ACES team. All right. So there's been a lot of exciting things happening. One thing that I've really enjoyed is Abigail has put together topical webinars, and they have been Zoom. And our first one was on transportation at the beginning of the semester and really highlighted things that we're doing as a group and partnerships that we have across the university. And it was, I would have to say, stunningly well attended. There were like 160 people, which was amazing. And I guess maybe that speaks to CLEs, but it also, I think, speaks to the ongoing interest in this topic. So we carried on with transportation as a theme, and we had our third annual Champions Sustainability football game, which was very exciting. We had t-shirts for students. We had a bunch of pregame stuff that we did leading up to it, pushing out materials, a lot on Chapel Hill Transit, which is such a remarkable asset, and other things related to as the university is building out and as we're accommodating all the new students. what are our sustainable transportation options. And the game went beautifully. For me, it's always highlighted by the halftime radio show. And this time we had the mayor of Chapel Hill. And if you know her, she is awesome on the radio. And so was the chancellor. So it was a really nice piece on the radio talking about all the things that the town and the university are doing collaboratively and independently around sustainable transportation. And those of you who have been to presentations that I've given before know that my thing is usually that I have socks as a prize. And the mayor didn't tell me she was bringing socks. So I was 100% upstaged, which I loved. So that, and now I have some sweet Chapel Hill Transit socks. But I think that was a great event, a great day, continuing to build really positive relationships with our local communities, who obviously are a huge amount of what we do. We have had a leadership change within the Institute for the Environment. We have something called the Energy Transition Initiative, and you all knew Alex Hopkins, who was wonderful. And Alex has left us for an awesome job in the private sector, and we're sad to see him go. But we are super happy that Noah Kittner, who is also a council member, has agreed to lead the ETI. So Noah, we are looking forward to having you literally in the house. And Noah, as many of you know, is a scientist who works on lots of things around the energy transition, lots of things on supply chains and life cycle assessment. And I think will be a really great leader for that group and go in a little bit different way, but in a super exciting way. So more on that. We'll have Noah talk with us next time. And unless you have any soon to come teasers, Noah.
Oh no, thanks. It's just it's going to be really exciting, and I think we'll have some new events and different things coming in the spring. So it's going to be an exciting opportunity to work on energy topics around campus.
Absolutely. So I think that'll be wonderful for everybody. So more exciting news in our what is turning out to be a big fall. Yesterday, we were at the Carolina Beekeeping Club's hives with the chancellor, and the chancellor put on a beekeeping suit, and Emily took pictures. It was, as you know, yesterday was stunningly beautiful. It was the classic Chapel Hill fall afternoon, and it was a delightful visit. So just reiterating, really nice to have support from leadership, and really nice to have the very first time I met with the chancellor, the first thing we talked about was his interest in Bee Downtown, which is an organization that's cross country and really big in Raleigh. So I remembered that. And when the Carolina Beekeeping Club began to thrive, as they have, if you don't know, their hives are at Battle Grove, which is just down the road from the South Building, and also the home of a big stormwater management structure. So it's a big hub of sustainability for Carolina, and the bees are thriving and have produced hundreds of pounds of honey. So if you haven't seen the article and the video that was on the UNC front page, and maybe still is, they did a really nice job highlighting that particular group, and just another measure of all the cool stuff that we have, the diverse and distributed stuff we have going on around sustainability. So that was a super fun afternoon. So as we continue to engage with leadership about things related to sustainability, the chancellor's goals around enrollment growth and new development in lots of areas, especially Carolina North. We wanted to make sure we as Sustainable Carolina were as prepared as we could to be a resource. So to do our job and to articulate the university's goals and the metrics we use to track them, and all the plans that we have. If you haven't seen them, we have a great climate action plan and a great water plan. And within them, we have specific mechanisms to achieve the goals that we lay out in there. But translating that into a way that is helpful for our outside stakeholders, especially like architects and designers and builders, was not something that we had explicitly done. And so I don't think we'll get an update specifically on that today, but we will hopefully next time. And you all got the one pager that Abigail put together for kind of what Sustainable Carolina is, which I thought was very helpful. It had to do with, our full mission around not only sustainability actions, but the educational piece and connecting to research. But these documents are more focused. One of them is about exemplary buildings. So where are the showpiece buildings that we can point to and aspire to as we start doing a pretty big push on new buildings? And then also what specifically can we either do as Sustainable Carolina? The council is definitely an asset that we pointed to. How can we help get data? What can we do to facilitate the really numerical and robust consideration of sustainability in the building process? So we have a great example of the building, the business school that's going to maybe be platinum, but like an amazing, amazing building. Yeah. But it was, I know all along the way, a heavy lift. And there were periods of time without determination from the unit, from the business school, and without the resources to really dig in and help make all of that happen. I think it would have, I know nothing was easy about it, but it would have been harder still. So our goal is for the buildings that don't have a champion and don't have maybe the extra resources to supplement all of the costs, what can we do to help raise the floor in terms of support for sustainable decision making around building? And so we'll share that stuff with you all. I'd love your feedback. I think it turned out really well. It was the product of some interactions we've had with Howard Wertheimer, who is the interim associate vice chancellor, who's in charge of that part of the world, and really wondering what we had to offer, which always my first inclination is just what's on the website or something like that. But just because we know doesn't mean everybody else doesn't. So I think these are going to be very helpful, and I'm grateful to Howard for that feedback. So we will share the other two documents. They're all on the website. I think we have a facilities tab maybe. And so you can find those if you want to look at them sooner rather than later. But I'm going to end my update there because the agenda is full of exciting new things we have going on. And so I will turn it over to Abigail, who will talk about the aforementioned annual sustainability report.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. All right. So the annual sustainability report, this is a 2025 edition. So it covers everything from August 2024 through July 2025. And I usually start putting this report together, at least start thinking about it around Earth Day every year. It just seems a little bit fitting, and it's also the end of the school year, so projects are wrapping up. And then we publish it in October for Campus Sustainability Month. And the whole process is really fun for me, and I enjoy it. And I will start by telling a story just that I think kind of shows the depth of our relationship with some of our partners. So this past year for Earth Day, we had our festival on the green roof, and there was a little bit of a miscommunication with the student union about transporting our tables to the event, which was on Rams Head Plaza green roof. And so we found ourselves with all of these tables and no handcart to bring them across the street and up the hill. So we contacted Victoria, who was working with us. She's the sustainability manager with Carolina Dining Services, and she was helping us with the event that day. And she said, you know what? Edible Campus has a pickup truck. We'll just load them in there and then bring them over. So before we knew it, we were all doing that and moving the tables into their spots. And everybody that was tabling that day, all of our partners helped out, and it was all hands on deck. And it was just a really good feeling to, be able to accomplish that. But these groups have accomplished so much this past year. So I wanted to start off by recognizing some of those accomplishments. The Office of Waste Reduction and Recycling began a new initiative this year to recycle mattress toppers. We all know mattress toppers become highly recommended when you're moving into your residence hall, Unfortunately, when they go to the landfill, they stay there for thousands and thousands of years, breaking down and also leach harmful chemicals into the soil. So this initiative was meant to combat that, and Kelly ended up filling a 16-foot long trailer of mattress pads, which is pretty amazing. And she hopes to do it again this year if the recycling vendor continues to accept those products. Carolina Dining Services won a gold award for carbon neutrality efforts, and this is related to their purchasing policies, especially looking at things like regenerative agriculture. And then it also includes programs that promote students limiting their carbon footprint in the dining halls. So thinking about switching from meat to legumes and vegetables some days instead of the higher carbon emitting products. And then Environment, Health, and Safety here at UNC conducted 705 trainings that is related to stormwater pollution, pollution prevention, and that was for groups like athletics and construction and UNC grounds. They also did 54 construction inspections and 65 visual inspections of our campus outfalls, which we all know is important because water at UNC falls to campus and it ultimately goes to Jordan Lake. All right. And I mentioned the outdoor aspect of campus here at UNC. And so UNC has a very unique document called the Landscape Framework Plan, and it's a complement to the university's master plan. And so one of the things that this plan does is it looks at the green space on campus and says, you know, what space can we devote for social activity to students? What space could be really great small habitats? And how is water moving through campus? And one of the projects that is helping water move through campus more easily is the new Coker Arbor. And so the North Carolina Botanical Garden is working right now to have that water diverted from the structure and flow into the streams in Coker Arbor better than it has before. It kind of naturally pooled in the underneath the arbor before. So they're working on ways to get that water flowing into the streams on campus. And then there is Bingham Hall, which we all know has been under construction. And there have been a number of sustainability related things that they've been doing. They've been recycling materials that had been used in the building before. And they also installed storm windows, which obviously provide better insulation, but also help with energy efficiency. And so speaking of energy efficiency on campus, Melanie crunches our numbers every year to look at our emissions and how we're doing from our baseline, which was taken in 2007. The good news is that we are maintaining our emissions decrease from baseline. That 36% that we've seen is remaining stable. And with new projects on the horizon and some recently completed projects, like the airport solar field, we are hoping that we will see a decrease in those purchased electricity emissions. And then with the alternative energy study that has been launched and funded by the North Carolina Collaboratory, we're looking to see some decrease in stationary combustions due to the new technologies that might come out of that and those findings for that technology. And the two groups, that alternative energy study is actually going to be talked about this evening at the Energy Transition Town Hall. And two of those groups, student groups that are organizing it, are Student Government and Renewable Energy Special Projects Committee. And so our student groups have also been doing a lot of great work around campus. I could have put a number of statistics on this slide because RESPC funds a number of projects every year. But one of the really noticeable ones was their funding for electric equipment for UNC grounds to use on campus. That helps with all sorts of things, noise pollution and cutting down on the use of gas for those items. And then Mike already mentioned the Carolina Beekeeping Club. They moved 4 beehives from the top of FedEx Global Education Center to Battle Grove. And like you said, they produce about 200 pounds of honey in a year. So we'll see if they can top that this year. And then I wanted to start wrapping up the presentation just by talking about our place at the university. We are very lucky to be a part of the UNC Office of the Vice Chancellor for Research by way of the UNC Institute for the Environment. We've been housed under the Institute since 2020, and in that position, we are able to see really inspiring stories from our students, our future researchers who are going out in the field for the first time and exploring field sites. And then we also hear about research happening outside of the Institute, like foundational science that will help better recycle tires. And lastly, I wanted just to recognize our council members. Seems fitting to do so in our council meeting. So Julie Jacobson Van is co-leading a really awesome grant that UNC Nursing received last year, working with a university in Norway, and she hopes to develop a planetary health course. We had Ackerman Center for Excellence in Sustainability last year take their first sustainability-related New York City trek, career trek. And then we had the Environmental Finance Center publish their big wastewater utility report with lots and lots of data. And then one of Noah Kittner's students received a very prestigious award, the Dwight D. Eisenhower Transportation Graduate Fellowship. So there's just so much going on with our council members, and we're so thankful to have you. And so next April, around Earth Month, just start thinking about, what your accomplishments are, what your peers' accomplishments are, what you want to share with us, and we will be sure to get it in next year. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Abigail. Does anyone have any questions for Abigail? All right. Well, the exciting news is that report is readily available on the website. All right. Next up, we are going to hear from Melanie Elliott, and she is going to talk to us about the newly rebranded, completely redone and relaunched Sustainable Labs program. Easy for me to say. Melanie, please take it away.
Thanks, Mike. Can everybody see the slides? Great. So yeah, so as Mike mentioned, I use the word redeveloped. So we've had different iterations of a Sustainable Labs program throughout the years. And we recently redeveloped and relaunched that program. And so I'm going to share a little bit about that process and where we are today with it. So with the former program, we found that there were some barriers to participation. And so one that we noticed just by having multiple owners of the program, so it was jointly owned by us and a lab manager at the Lung Institute. It was just a little bit challenging to know who's owning what component of the program. There was a website that just wasn't getting updated. There was a student committee that wasn't being engaged. And so I think just having that spread of ownership across parties was making that challenging. We also had several levels of certification, which is fairly standard. A lot of different Sustainable Labs programs do this. As you can see illustrated on the slide. Different amounts of points get you to different levels of certification, but that requires a lot more engagement with us. So if one lab is trying to get all the way to the top to green, they're going to have to interact with us a lot more to be able to achieve that. Also, the auditing checklist that we had wasn't very flexible, right? So there's all kinds of different labs on campus. Our laboratories as a whole consume more energy and more water than any other building type on campus. And some labs more than others, right? Depending on the type of work that they do. So the program was really geared towards those energy and water intensive spaces, but we really wanted to be able to have all labs be able to participate. And then the final challenge was that it was designed to really just engage with one lab personnel. And so we didn't see, a distributed knowledge and workload in the lab. So over the last year, we've worked on redeveloping the program to address some of these issues. So we consolidated ownership. It is now owned by Sustainable Carolina. We have one level of certification, and that is if you have completed 75% of the applicable items on the audit. So you first tell us which items in the checklist apply to your workspace. Once you've completed 75% of those, you are certified sustainable. But I have a little asterisk because you still have to continue to engage with us, right? So after 1 year, we ask you to resubmit that checklist with some photographic evidence that that work is still being done. And then your certification is only good for 2 years, so you have to start the process over. And then we also added some e-learning modules. So these are available to anyone who has access to Carolina Talent. We have 4 different modules. They take about 45 minutes to complete, but it goes over really just some of the key information in the program, like energy conservation, water conservation, proper waste sorting, and for this one, the EFRP, which is funded by RESPC. It's the Efficient Freezer Rebate Program. And so that one is for labs who have ultra low temperature freezers, because freezers are high energy consumers. So as I mentioned, those modules are available to everyone. So we're sort of trying to get over that barrier of just interacting with one person in the lab and providing this information to everybody who works in that lab space. Abigail created some really gorgeous resources that are available on the website that people can download and print out if they want to post them, or they can just review them, share them out in an email. So we have a campaign poster for Shut the Sash. The hood vents in labs consume tons of energy, as much as a house. So by shutting the sash, we can reduce, or sorry, 3 houses. So we can reduce a lot of that wasted energy by just shutting the sash when the fume hoods are not in use. She also created a Dimensions of Wellness poster, which I don't have depicted here. And then our tenets of sustainable labs. And we also have a certificate that we print out, we frame, and then we bring it to the lab so that they can post it and everybody can know that they are certified sustainable. So after we did all of that work, this past spring, we conducted a pilot of the program. So we got some of our pals in different labs. As I mentioned, a lab manager in the Lung Institute was one of the former owners of the program, and she was part of the process to help us redevelop. And she got a couple of labs to agree to participate in the pilot with us. We got a lab from the Bowles Center for Alcohol Studies, and then also the biospecimen processing facility. All of these labs use really energy intensive and water intensive equipment. So that but they were already doing a lot of that sustainability work. So it was fairly easy to get these labs certified. This was more about trying to get that feedback from them about the process, engagement, how those modules work, and if they felt like maybe it was too easy. And then we made some adjustments based on that feedback. We also engaged with OWR, the Office of Waste Reduction and Recycling, Energy Management, and Environment, Health, and Safety to make sure that our auditing checklist covered all of the bases and was accurate, which we had to make some adjustments. And so since the pilot, Mike mentioned that Abigail has been facilitating some webinars. During Research Week, she facilitated a webinar about sustainable labs. And we talked about the history of the program, the redevelopment. And then we had Todd O'Buckley, who was one of the participants in the pilot. He talked about his experience in that. And then we had a couple of different presenters talking about freezers. So one person talked about freezer best practices, and then Max from RESPC talked about the RESPC Efficient Freezer Rebate Program. So our next steps, we're working on recruitment right now. So we are trying to figure out the best way to recruit more labs to participate in the program. Langley has put up flyers in some of the lab buildings. We're also talking about maybe just tabling in some of those buildings or finding other places to table so that we can share our message, talk about the program, and get more people involved. There's also, other resources like listservs. We also want to send this information out to recipients of the EFRP rebates because we know that those labs are using freezers. So those are great targets for the program. I also mentioned orientation and ambassadors. Langley is going to talk about that after I wrap up. And then I put you all. So if you all have suggestions for labs that might want to participate, we are happy to hear from those folks and get them started with the program. And then we also recognize as we're moving forward that we'll continue to get feedback and that we will update the program as necessary to make sure that it's again, flexible for everybody and that we can get as many people participating in the program as possible. And that is all I have.
Awesome. Thank you, Melanie. Do we have questions for Melanie? Pretty great. So thematically, I'd say that our questions that come in to Sustainable Carolina lump pretty broadly into the what are you accomplishing anyway, and how can I help? So Abigail's talk is clearly geared towards what are you accomplishing anyway, and it's a broad look at the whole university that I think is really, really powerful. Melanie talking about the labs, clearly there are things in there. If one hood is 3 houses and one ultra low freezer is 1 house, I mean, we're talking about a lot of energy use. So clearly a target that can have some interventions, hopefully in a positive way. So that's our hope there in the context of labs. We have a similar sustainable office. Is that what it's called now? Yep. So a similar program for offices. So not labs, also revamped and really successful. But another question we get is individual students who really want to be involved and how can they do that? And exciting to have Langley give an update on a couple of the important ways that we are helping students have direct involvement in the work that we do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So can everyone see it? Oh, I didn't press the button. I'm sorry. Now can you see it? Perfect. So hi, my name is Langley. I am Sustainable Carolina's program specialist, and I'm really excited to talk to you all today about our new sustainability orientation and our new sustainability ambassador program. So let's start with sustainability orientation. So what is sustainability orientation? Why are we doing this? We created the sustainability orientation to connect students, staff members, and faculty with university offices that have sustainable initiatives and programs to educate them on said programs and initiatives with the big goal of hounding well-rounded, sustainability educated individuals on campus. Then those well-rounded, sustainability educated individuals can participate with said programs and initiatives, and they can share their sustainability knowledge with others. So it's like a crash course on on-campus sustainability. We held our first sustainability orientation last Thursday, and we had a great turnout. It was a hybrid event, so we had 4 in-person attendees and around 26, 27 Zoom attendees. So we reached about 30 people on our first go, which I think was great. And we held this event with the Office of Waste Reduction and Recycling and the Office of Transportation and Parking. So, what can you expect to learn from sustainability orientation? Great question. During Sustainable Carolina's presentation, we touched on our strategic framework, our mission and vision, goals and strategies, and the university sustainability goals, like achieving carbon neutrality by 2040. We talked about the Association for the Advancement of Sustainability in Higher Education Sustainability Tracking Assessment Rating System, otherwise known as HE STARS. That was a lot of words. Whew. HE stars in our recent gold rating in our most recent submission, which was really exciting. We love to talk about it. It's great. And then we devoted time to go into our office's reports and resources, like the aforementioned annual sustainability report and our climate action plan, and then other resources that we provide, like our greenhouse gas emissions report and our green events guide. And then we touched on our programs like the Affirmation Sustainable Labs, Sustainable Office, and then how folks can get involved with sustainability in the classroom. So, like what sustainability in the classroom looks like and how one can find sustainability courses to attend. Cool. The Office of Waste Reduction and Recycling spoke about on-campus recycling, so like where the recycling goes, which if I am correct is the Sunoco Material Recovery Facility in Raleigh, which is actually just down the road for me. I see it all the time. And then Kelly from OWRR gave a fantastic recycling demo. We went through individual items and if they're not recyclable or compostable, which made it very clear where waste goes on campus. And then last but not least, we had the Office of Transportation and Parking. Ellie presented for them and she talked about the Commuter Alternative Program, which is a great opportunity for staff, faculty, and students. And then we talked about ways to get around on campus sustainably. So like the P2P, bikes, and then public transportation options like Carolina Transit and then the Triangle Go. So that is sustainability orientation. Really fast, really brief. And then sustainability ambassadors. We have been cooking on this program since I joined the team back in October of 2022. So we are really excited to have it live now, being that it's 2025. So there are 5 requirements to become a Sustainable Carolina ambassador, but each of the so for undergrads, graduate students, faculty, and staff members, each of those groups have different requirements. Some of those requirements, well, the first step is to attend sustainability orientation. Then the individuals can go to their requirements. Oops. Like this is the assigned list of tasks for undergraduate students. So that includes watching the energy transition town hall video, which that's coming up, or participating in CAP, attending a Sustainable Carolina CLE event like our Bio Blitz that we just had back in October. But the goal for ambassadors is to have, again, the well-rounded, sustainability educated individuals on campus, but then to reward them for their work and their involvement with sustainability on campus. We want individuals who are actively participating in sustainability initiatives. And the reward, the first one that we've come up with, we're always talking about other ways to reward these individuals. It's our grant project proposal. So once individuals are certified as an ambassador, they are eligible to submit a project proposal to us for up to $1,000 in funding. These projects must be sustainability minded, but there's a ton of things that those projects could be, like an art installation, or maybe someone wants to fund an event. The options are truly endless. So yeah, that is sustainability, orientation, and ambassadors. Does anyone have any questions?
Fantastic. Thank you, Langley. And as you said, it has been a road for sure, and one that you have pursued well and doggedly. So thank you. But it's awesome to be at the finish line. Yeah, when I saw some of the social media about the ambassadors, like, oh, awesome. Celebrate. All right. I see Julie with a question.
Just one quick question, Langley. This sounds great. A student was talking with me last week about sustainability on campus and wants to get involved. So should I just direct her to you?
Absolutely. I would love
Okay.
to chat about sustainability on campus.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, cool. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Langley. So now we have on our agenda a report. So we've already alluded to the fact that tonight is the Energy Transition Town Hall. And is it the fourth, Melanie? Yeah, fourth. So it's the fourth annual, and it is being organized by RESPC and student government, and Sustainable Carolina is a supporting partner. So Victoria, are you involved in the planning for that at all?
Not as much as Max and Ellie Prosser.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. So I'll just say it's always the intention when we started 4 years ago and still now is to have open and honest conversations about sustainability issues, particularly the energy transition. And often the energy transition is kind of the broad words that we use to talk about the cogen plant. And so people understanding exactly what it does and how it operates and the goals for its future function, the progress that has been made, honest conversation about the additional progress that needs to be made. I've seen the moderator questions for tonight, and there are lots of great questions about, where are we? What are the plans? What motivates the folks who are doing it? Who's in charge? Good question. So I think it'll be really good. One of the exciting things tonight, Melanie always gives an update on what district energy is and how the university works, which is great. But this particular energy transition town hall, which is 6 p.m. Murphy Hall, if anybody would like to come. We have Salis O'Brien, who someone talked before about the energy transition study that the collaboratory is funding. I think it was Abigail. We're going to have an interim report from Salis O'Brien, who are the consultants who were hired to do that work. And so they're going to talk about their preliminary look at the universe of options as we go forward, but being pretty hopefully specific about things that make sense for Carolina. So not just a giant inventory of what we could do, but rather some more thoughts from them on what we probably should do. So we have a district energy system that's actually pretty efficient and pretty modern and enviable in some ways. But we want to figure out how to make the way that it's fueled as modern as possible. So there's been good progress that'll be shared. Will you give an update on where we are with fuel use and emissions and things, Melanie?
Yeah. So just kind of the same presentation that I've done in the past, just with updated numbers. And I saw the Solace O'Brien presentation this morning, and it's really good. So I think anybody who's at all interested in not just learning, but also voicing your opinion. So a big part of the process for Solace O'Brien is to get stakeholder feedback. And so that's their goal. In our goal is to make sure everybody's educated and informed. Their goal is to get some feedback on the process and some of the decisions that they've made so far. So
Absolutely. And if you didn't see in the chat, Abigail indicated that one of Emily's awesome interns is going to be recording it. So that's going to be made available. So the possibility to see it and provide feedback to Solace O'Brien is not limited to in person tonight. So I think last year at the end of the town hall, we kind of came to the realization that we've done the same thing 3 times, and providing annual updates on emissions reductions. It happened that they were going down all 3 years, which was great news, but it's incremental gains. And so probably that format was going to need to be tweaked to have it continue to be engaging, because poor Melanie was just updating one slide and trying to make it really super exciting. But I think this year the progress is beyond incremental, because the planning process with the energy transition study is going on. So I'm excited to hear what they have to say and to get everybody's feedback. So if anybody wants to join us, please do, but also know that the recording will be available after the fact. All right. Any questions about that? Awesome. Well, we have some time set aside if there are council member updates, council member questions, anything that we'd like to talk about as a group.
I'm happy to give an update if that's okay.
100%. Thank you, Julie.
Okay, well, I'm excited to hear this has been a great year. Medical students have been actively trying to engage the health system, and in the past couple months we've had meetings with 5 UNC health administrators, and there's some movement toward greater sustainability efforts in the health system. So that's one exciting thing. Kind of on a similar note, we're trying to work on a gloves off campaign, educating on that, given that billions of gloves are used in healthcare and often not needed, such as for vaccinations. So that's another thing. Melanie, of course, talked about labs, and one of my junior colleagues is interested in working collaboratively with Melanie and our School of Nursing simulation lab on greening our simulation lab, maybe starting with a waste audit. And a colleague and I just got a paper accepted on a scoping review on greening School of Nursing simulation labs. One very exciting thing happened this summer. The di-2-ethylhexyl phthalate, or DEHP law, was passed in North Carolina that we were working on, which bans DEHP containing IV tubes and bags from use in healthcare in North Carolina. And let's see, met at APHA this week with my Duke Planetary Health counterpart, and we're going to be collaborating on a number of things. And of course, as Abigail mentioned, we'll be working with Norway collaboratively on a planetary health course. And I think that's just a few of the things that are going on, but it's exciting.
Awesome. Thank you. Do we have any other updates?
I'm not even a council member, but can I update? Because I hope this will go into the next year's report. I just went to, for the first time in my 10 years at UNC, to the School of Law conference, and it was actually on taking stock, climate resilience, and insurance finance. So I don't know if anybody heard about it, but it was an amazing conference with a lot of both government representatives as well as business and industry. And I learned a lot about climate resilience and adaptation through the insurance and reinsurance industry, which actually gave me a lot more, I think, motivation and inspiration to continue going, because that's where the future lies. because that's what there is a business case, and that's why everybody's jumping on it. And lots of good cases, good examples of public-private partnerships and how to make communities more resilient, but also, programs that are launched in North Carolina, on the North Carolina coast, of course. I forgot the name, but it's sort of robust roof that they're testing and ensuring for that helps to withstand hurricane damage and other natural disasters. So I guess I will forward it to the email address on the report so that it registers.
Absolutely, that'd be
It's a
great.
great
And
event.
wonderful to hear you had a great experience. So Don Horn's team reached out to us as well, and it was great to hear. It was a big week in insurance. We also have IRMI that Victoria is very involved in. What are they? Insurance Innovation and
Yeah, the Institute for Insurance Innovation and Risk Management. And yeah, I have to plug that. Greg Trackless and his group have been amazing, and they're doing work on Hurricane Helene relief, and especially regarding the mortgages situation with the lack of insurance in that area and how to financially repair communities. But then they're also doing really cool studies on drought resilience in California, on wildfire risks and modeling and developing predictive analytics. And yeah, it's truly incredible. So gotta plug that.
Absolutely. It's nice to be at a place that is an amazing hub for all these things. And Olga, as you point out, insurance is where the business case is. And shocking, I saw down the road at Duke, there's something that's got insurance in the name that just got stood up. So we'll see. More expertise coming to the neighborhood. All right. Anybody else? All right. Well, thank you all very much for your time. We appreciate it. We will continue to be in touch with some of the documents that I talked about today, and thinking about in the spring, one of the priorities is kind of reinvigorating the Campus Resilience Committee and figuring out what that will look like, and how we have a pretty exciting growing early partnership with a company called IotaCom. That's a sensor company that just moved to Chapel Hill, and they're really interested in temperature. They're really interested in air quality. They're really interested increasingly in streams. And we've done some data collection in all those areas, and we're excited to partner with them. So I will be in touch with many of you on the screen as we think about how we can best take advantage of that partnership, because they're excited to be good corporate citizens. And I think they also see us as a potentially really great use case. So that's good to be somebody's good use case. All right. Well, thank you all again. Have a great rest of your afternoon. If you decide to join us, just 3 hours remain until the Energy Transition Town Hall, and we will be in Murphy Hall, which I think is still home of the Classics Department. So thank you all again. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.